Well, good morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you see this. This is Dee with Older INFP Insights. And I thought I'd do a video on some words to say to the sandwich generation. No one has asked about this, but I talked about the 20-somethings, which was requested. That's got a lot of views so far. I appreciate everybody seeing it. I also lost several subscribers. I think I got door slammed. Must have hit a nerve. That happens. These are just my thoughts. You ask for it, you're going to get it. So I thought I'd talk a little bit about the sandwich generation. I don't know which generation they are, if that's the Gen X crowd or what. Someone comment below what they are. The midlifers. As far as what I talked about with the 20-somethings, if you haven't seen that, watch it. I was just talking about what's going on today and what I would advise, which is totally different than what I would during normal circumstances, but we're not living in normal times and normal circumstances. But I did want to do something about the sandwich generation, the midlifers, because I think you are having the hardest time. The 20-somethings, it's going to pass. They've got the whole life ahead of them. Yes, it feels depressing. I will say that I forgot to say in their video that the most depressed I've ever been in my life was when I was 18. That was the height of the Vietnam War. So yes, I totally understand that angst that comes in that age group, but you do have your whole life ahead of you, hopefully. The boomers, the retirees, and those from the greatest generation, the few that are left from the Great Depression era, we're pretty much set. And if we're not set, I don't know what to say or do. I may be living in my car one day myself. I'm preparing for that. But the sandwich generation, we're getting back to that. So the midlifers, you're having the hardest time. Most of you out there, you have to work. Majority, obviously, at the top 1%. You have to work. One income doesn't cut it anymore. Sometimes two incomes don't cut it. I know when I was coming along, when I was in my 20s, when I first started having kids, I worked night shift, and one of my good friends recently, recent good friends, their parents did that too. They had a ton of kids. They didn't have a ton of kids. They had like 8 kids, a large family. And so the mom worked the third shift and the dad worked first shift. So they have somebody to there for the kids. I've done that myself. I've worked second shift, and at the time when I was married, my then husband worked first shift, and we rarely saw each other, but we couldn't afford daycare, basically. That's what it was, and just couldn't afford daycare. Understand that for those in the sandwich generation. Daycare is hard. It's very expensive. It's probably what college used to cost. I have in my life quit a job because I wasn't making enough for daycare for 3 kids in the summertime. 2 of them were in school, and I could afford 1 for daycare year-round, but not the summertime. I'd have to have daycare for 3. So I quit that job. And then when the summer ended, I went back and found another job. I totally understand that. What I would say to you, and it's been hard having, if you have kids, it's been hard having kids homeschooled, work from home, isolation with the pandemic. That's been really tough. I've got kids and grandkids who went through all of that. They tended to stay isolated, away from friends and family as much as possible, because they got caught up in the everyday living and trying to adjust. I would say not to do that. I know a lot of them now are coming back out and reconnecting with friends. I would say reconnect with your family, reconnect with the grandparents. That's one thing I do miss, is that I'm not being included like I used to be. Before the pandemic, I would at least get invited to grandkids' sports activities. I didn't have to get together with my family, but I would be given a schedule. Like if they were playing soccer, for example, I would be given the soccer schedule. If I wanted to show up and watch them play, fine. And that's how I spent time. I enjoy doing that. Now, since the pandemic, they aren't doing that quite as much, and if they are, I don't get the schedules. I don't get included. With grandparents, for the most part, can help. I know you want to do it yourself. You don't have to do this all alone. You don't have to have meddling parents. I know you don't want to be around your parents. You don't want to be your parents. You are turning into your parents. We all do that at some point, turn into our parents. But look for help in the extended family. Other cultures do that. We're here, I'm in America, I'm in the United States, so I'm just talking about from my perspective. Look at the Asians, look at the Hispanics too. They revere the older people. It's intergenerational. We don't tend to do that here in the Americas, in the United States at all. Older people are put out to pasture. That's why so many senior housing developments are coming up. I found out last night there's a new one coming up in my neighborhood. Might be assisted living. All the neighbors on next door are complaining. They don't want apartments here. They don't want old people here. Well, you're not taking us into your house. You're not going to let the parents live with you. Where are we going to go? Okay, got to go somewhere. Got to go somewhere. It's not our fault we were here. So keep that in mind. If you're not willing to house, if you're not willing to house your parents in old age, which mine have told me I need to find some place to go. I did. I found a place. It's independent living, but I'll figure it out. But include them. Even if they're pains in the butt, and I know even if you don't get along, you can get along. Do it for the grandkids' sake. Stay out of the middle. Stay out of the middle of, that's one thing I will say strongly. Stay out of the middle of your relationship for your kids and their grandparents. Let them have a relationship. And if the grandparents are toxic or grandparents are pain in the butt, as long as they're not too abusive or very abusive, that type thing, stay away from. But as long as they're not that, just a little bit here and there, even on FaceTime, Zoom, whatever, let them see them, let them interact. I was thinking the other day, I've got 7 grandkids, and I probably will never see them again. I probably will never see them again. I have not seen 5 of them since the pandemic, and I don't know if I will or not. And that is very sad to us, so just keep that in mind. I know you have a lot to do, a lot on your plate. Schedule us in. They don't have to come to the house, but figure out a way of scheduling in. We can be a big help without meddling, and if it's meddling, you can set boundaries. Learn to do that. I know as INFP, we want to do things ourselves. I know as INFP, we don't do boundaries very well. We get enmeshed, we get emotional. Just try to put your thinking cap on. Just try to do some logic more than the emotions, and your life will get easier. So I've spent almost 10 minutes just talking about that one thing, but that is important. That is a big help. You do need help. Another thing and if you do have a house, you don't have to remodel your house. You don't have to have the latest of everything. Right now is a volatile time. I would say, that's just me, but I would say just save as much as you can. Invest, get some passive income coming. I like passive income, and by passive income, that's when you have income you don't have to work for. I know a lot of you want to do the stock market. Right now might be a good time to jump in, but it's a little volatile, it's unstable, it's going to balance back out. If you have a 401k at your work, hold. If you get really strapped, don't be tempted to cash in any of it. I did that, and that was a mistake I made. I had one 401k the whole time I've ever worked, and I was only at the place a year, but I was really strapped for money, and I cashed it in because it wasn't that much, but it was enough to help me and to pay some bills. If I had kept it right now, it probably would have been worth a whole lot more. So just, cut back other ways. Don't go out to eat as much. Don't go on vacations as much. Don't look to buy a second home. I know it's tempting. The Joneses are doing it. Don't keep up with the Joneses. Just kind of hold and be thankful for what you've got. If you've got a roof over your head, food on the table, you're fine. You're fine. The kids complain and scream, yep, but just put up with it. We had to put up with it too. Send them outside. I know it's not safe to be outside, but outside, maybe in your yard, supervised if you have to. Get them out. Get them off the electronics. My grandkids they're electronically inclined. They've got to be entertained. They don't ride in my car because I don't have a video thing in my car, and it's amazing to me how many people in the sandwich generation, they get kids in the car and they turn on the videos. The first thing they do just to ride down the street. That I don't think that's good. So yeah, just kind of cut back. You can go on vacations. You can have a good time. I'm not saying not to go out to eat. I'm not saying not to go, but I know people around here where I live. And my own kids, every time I turn around, they're going somewhere. They're on vacation, they're going somewhere, traveling all the time. And I said, well, I worry about it. And then they say, well, it's okay. We're doing fine. Yeah, but at some point in time, you may not. And health care may get in the way. I used to work in health care, so I'm concerned about all that. I know that it only takes one crisis to put you in financial ruin. Bankruptcy is the number one, medical bills is the number one reason for bankruptcy in this country, in the United States. Let me say that again. Medical bills are the number one reason for bankruptcy. So it only takes one split second of something happening. So I would save some, have a good time, but save some. I know my nephew he's got 3 daughters. Last year, for Christmas, they all got ATVs. I don't think they need 3 ATVs, but they all got their own ATV. Don't know where they're riding them. But, yeah, I mean, these are adult ATVs. That was my whole yearly income in some when I was working. But people don't need to live that way, in particular during these times. Excuse me. So just kind of hang in there. You're doing great. You can only do what you can do. Barter is another thing that I like to do. That's an old term. People used to, if you don't have the money, just switch off. I'll do this for you if you do this for me. We did that back in the day. That's something that can be used now. You don't have to pay for everything. Bring that back. I wish bartering would come back in style. I do that. My kids will come and do something for me once in a blue moon, and then they expect to be paid or something. I don't know. Well, then I'll give them something. If I've got to, I say, what do you need for you? We'll trade off. Not paying you, but we'll trade off. The next thing is, if you got kids old enough, send them to work. That goes along with the 20-something, what I told them, work for a job. Send them to work. I know things are different nowadays. That's what I always hear. Well, it's different now. It's not the way it was when you were coming along. I know every generation has said that since Rome, and before Rome, since biblical times. Everybody has said that. We have it harder. We have it harder. Every generation has it harder. Yes, life is hard. It's meant to be hard so that we can learn. But if you got kids old enough, send them to work. My kids went to work. Their dad bought them a car, and with the stipulation that he would buy the car and that's it. They had to pay for maintenance, they had to pay for gas, they had to pay for license, taxes, and insurance. So they went to work at 15. Age 15, they've been working ever since. Some of my kids have had 2 or 3 jobs themselves. They're doing very well. 2 of them got into the nursing profession, which they're doing very well now because a lot of nurses are quitting. So they're working like 3rd shifts and extra shifts and several jobs, but they're getting the money because the need is out there. But yeah, I've got 2 grandkids who are working. One's 17, and he has I think he has a job outside the home now. I'm not quite sure. Hadn't seen him in several years. But he has a YouTube channel. He's a huge gamer. He's on the internet all the time. Huge gamer. He has a YouTube channel about Minecraft, which I know nothing about, but he won't tell me what the name of the channel is so I can look at it. But I have a feeling that kid might be might be a millionaire. I have no idea. His parents didn't even know he had a channel. He was telling me how to, last time I talked to him about it, maybe about 4 years ago, and he's 17 now. He was monetizing it. I don't know if he's even old enough to monetize it, but yeah, he's doing well on YouTube. And I think he does have a part-time job outside the home. I have one that's 16 who wanted to go to work. He has a job outside at a park, some kind of a park that just opened up, like a theme ride, a zip line. It's a zip line type, ropes course type of a park. So he just got that job, and he'll be outside, so he'll be safe. So he's satisfied. He's working for his extra money. So you that are in the sandwich generation, you don't have to fund your kids for extra. My parents didn't do it for me. Way back in the day, I had to work for it. I got jobs, not outside the home as in businesses. I did pet sitting, babysitting, picking up trash. Back then you could pick up trash like bottles and cans and things and sell them. So whatever I could do. You can't do that now, I don't think. But aluminum used to bring in some good money. Don't think it does anymore. But those types of things that I did around friends, so I wasn't out there in the scary world. But that's some things you could do to help defray some of your cost. So just hang in there. I know it's tough. I don't know what else to tell you. I will say, if you do lose it all, you do lose it all. I've been through that myself. I didn't lose it all. In 2008, I told the 20-somethings I lost my vacation home. I know what it's like to lose. I've lost half my retirement income savings during that period of time, but I managed, and I'm living well. I was able to rebuild, and I was 2008, I was on the back end of midlife, and you can rebuild. It's not the worst thing that can happen as long as you got each other. Keep your health going. Do the best that you can. And I did have one other thing I wanted to talk about that, and it just slipped my mind about something that you could do. But and if you've lost your job's been outdated. If you're in a job that's outdated and you've been replaced, you need more education, or you never got the education to begin with, higher education. It's not too late. I know a lot of people get depressed and say, yeah, I wish I had. I can't go to college. I can't do this. Can't because of whatever. In midlife, yes, you can. I went back to school and got my master's degree at 40. My best friend in school was 50. She got her GED 4 years earlier. She got her GED, high school diploma, in her 40s, went to college, and then she went to grad school at 50. I know somebody who went to medical school at 50. It's not impossible. You can do it. There are ways to do it. When I went to grad school, I was a single parent of 3 kids that I was responsible for. I had to borrow money to go to school. I went to school, the only school I could get into, well, the only 2 schools in the state with my profession, and the one close by I did not get into. The other one I did, which was a 2-hour drive one way. I left home at 6:30 in the morning, made sure my kids got to school by 7, got home at 11 o'clock at night. I did that for 2 years. I don't know how I did it, but I did it. You just do one day at a time, 1 minute at a time sometime, but I did it, and we survived. Everybody was looked after. My kids were not, fortunately, my oldest one was old enough to babysit, and I did check in. This was before cell phones and everything. I had people to come over, use the extended family. Again, please use the extended family. Use trusted neighbors or whatever to help out, trade off, do bartering. It worked out. I did it. You can do it too. It's never too late to go back to school if that's what you need to do. Okay, well, this has gotten way long, but I wanted to put this out there. This is what I would suggest. If you like it, comment below. I enjoy your comments. You don't have to unsubscribe. If you don't like what I say, just click off. That was funny to me. Share, subscribe, whatever. If you have any topics you want me to do in the future, post them below. I will get to it. And until next time, everyone stay safe.